Hello, everyone. Welcome to Webtoon Book Club, a series where I talk about stories that I've read off of the webcomic website Webtoon. Today's going to be a short one as we're talking about Midnight Rhapsody, which is a series, again, with the UI, which is a series that is simply built like a funny strip from out of the newspaper. It's just a series of short little comic strips that have little bits that just resolves in short jokes. But the consistency of it is that it's about a wolf in college who's lazy and also constantly procrastinates. Where he'll plan to where one of the jokes will be like he'll plan for a project that he needs to turn in, and he'll say he's going to dedicate time, then he falls asleep, and then he wakes up 40 minutes before he gets to class. Or just having to deal with the everyday life of a college student. So, as far as that goes, that's pretty much mostly it. There really isn't much of this story, per se, as it's not much of a story. And while I could sit here and go through each single strip or some of them and explain the jokes, I think it would be better to just read them outright. As that's kind of the point of those are. They're short little jokes, so kind of ruining them in whole doesn't really help anything. Even though how this series functions is by me telling a story full and through in pretty well detail, at least to my consideration of what well detail could be. And yeah, basically spoiling whole stories, plot points, and twists, which is how this tends to go. Or will go, as this is only the third episode to come out. But I do plan to never stop this and to keep going. And I really hope anybody that does watch this has a good time having it mostly on as something in the background, because as you can see, it's just me in a room in Minecraft with a nice little imagery to look at, if you are to look at it. Where, for the most part, yeah, you can basically have this on in the background and just have it as something to listen to, which is entirely the point. And yeah, at this point, I'm not going on about Midnight Rhapsody anymore because there's not much more to say. Like, what I had to say was pretty much all there is to say about it. It's just a wolf in college, and it's just funny little short strips to make you get a little laugh here and there. If there's really any more I can describe about it, it's good. It is entertaining, it is funny. But I guess the biggest fact I could say about it is this story marks as being the first completed story on Webtoon. If you were to go to the original tab and then organize everything from newest to oldest, or yeah, if you were to organize everything by the by date selection, and scroll all the way down to the very, very bottom, Midnight Rhapsody would be the last thing on there. So this, in course, is the oldest story on Webtoon that has completed. Because to just simply say, well, it's the oldest story on Webtoon, well, that is up to a debate, as there's several stories, as when Webtoon started, June 30th, 2014, there were tons of stories that day one on the platform. And a lot of those stories were from stuff that was previously ongoing from rather months or years before, with probably the one going on the longest being Noblesse, which we will eventually get to if that one is picked, or I guess as long as I'm not getting any comments to suggest anything from the list in the description, something I'll pick from, or in case I have a friend of mine picking from. Regardless, that story will be gotten to. All of them will be gotten to. I'm sure some of you that are more knowledgeable will notice stories in there that are not originals and also technically not completed, but are canvases that are technically incomplete, but I consider them to be long enough to have something to talk about, even if that's what to talk about isn't all that long. The last couple of episodes, I don't know why I was so nervous to talk, or why I was leaving such empty gaps. But now I think I'm getting into the flow better. So, if anybody has a story they want me to read, I will say this. Don't just make a story that's pick from something that's listed in the description. I know that's a long list, that's a lot to sift through, to look through, and to try and pick something out. Like, if anything, if it seems like too much and you don't want to read through it, just look wherever on it. Pick the first thing that catches your eye. There you go. That's your vote. That's what the pick will be. If there's several things that get tied for picks, I guess I'll just pick whatever I see as the best one to talk about. Or maybe I'll talk about them all in week by week in a row. And you just won't get a you just won't get the option. I won't do that. I won't. But I guess this will be enough rambling on about absolutely nothing. And this will simply wrap up this episode. So, Midnight Rhapsody. Check it out if you want some nice, short, comical reads and something to brighten your day a bit. That dates back almost 11, dates back like 10.5 years. So, that'll be it. See you in the next one. Goodbye.